Take a pit stop for all things NASCAR with the Four Tire Change podcast. Here is your host, Dawson Iserlo.
It's the Four Tire Change podcast, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Dawson Iserlo back with you after another dominant performance from Shane van Gisbergen. Welcome back to the pod. Record numbers last week. Appreciate that. Everybody who jumped on, appreciate it if you go ahead and like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying what you're seeing. Good conversation in the comments section last week about SVG. Like, I get it, man. This is kind of funny. It's like a battle between the traditional NASCAR fan, the modern-day NASCAR fan that's, you know, a fan of maybe guys like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and then the SVG fans, and some of that blends over. But, like, I kind of like this little internal rivalry thing we got going between the fan base, and now there's only going to be more fuel to that fire because he did it again. And you know, last week we started to have some of those conversations about, you know, what winning races meant and playoff format conversation, like would you change a format and stuff like that. SVG's got 3 wins now, and I mean, think about this. Handful of weeks ago, he was completely out of the mix. He was in the 30s in points. He was like 33rd in points. Now he's the number 3 seed if the playoffs started tomorrow. He's got 17 playoff points, 3 wins, and then he's got the 2 stage wins on top of it. So, you know, say what you want. SVG's going to have a really good shot to move on in the playoffs. Now, I still think it's going to be an uphill battle for him when you get to rounds that are all ovals. But we do know the Roval is looming as a playoff race, and if he gets to that, then good luck beating him. It's becoming just more and more apparent just how good this guy is. Like, I did not expect this even after the Chicago Street Course. And look, I said on last week's pod, I brought up the idea. Hey, he's going to a track now where, you know, the Cup Series regulars are quite familiar with Sonoma. You know, you don't have that whole everybody's on a level playing field knowledge-wise. Like, I'd be, you know, I said I still think he's the favorite, but I think there's going to be a lot more competition. And there really wasn't. Like, it was that dominant again. And so now I get to the point where it's like, all right, there's no more doubting the guy. Like, there's no more doubting any aspect of his road course ability. Now, ovals is, you know, it's a different conversation. We'll see if he can, you know, if he finished top 20 at Dover, that'd be a great accomplishment. But that doesn't matter. Like, if he's going to go out and win every one of these things, or let's say, you know, 75% of them, even half of them, he's going to stay in the Cup Series for a very long time if he wants to, you know? Like, winning races is what moves the needle in this sport right now. And SVG is just, I love the way the precision he gets in and out of corners, too. Like, you watch, you know, I've kind of grown for a bigger appreciation of road course racing. I really loved watching, like, Rallycross back in the day with the World Rallycross Series. It was really, really intriguing for me. And that's obviously got a lot of sliding and drifting involved. The way he kind of just controls the weight and the balance of these things and just puts them in and out of corners. And again, like I said before, he seemingly just doesn't really make mistakes. You know, I know there's one here and there. And look, Connor Zilisch, you know, getting it done in the Xfinity Series. Shout out to Zilisch, who's going to be a star, I think, in this series before long. But you get him out there on a Sunday with all the pressure on, and he just doesn't seem fazed by it. So this is not like SVG needed another coronation. I think everybody's starting to realize how legit this is, but it does bring up some of the question marks, right? And this is where the current format, the way we're at, like, I think it's fine because of the 3 race rounds, but you're going to look at what they do with the schedule in future years, and you're going to immediately have to treat where SVG's at in the playoff situation differently than everyone else, right? Like, if you put a road course in the first round, you got to feel like there's an amazing chance he's moving on. Because if he doesn't win it, you know, unless he's an engine failure, he's going to finish top 5. But on the same token, and now here's where it gets really intriguing, and I know, you know, the setup of the Roval this year, like, we'll see how it ends up where, you know, because of where it is. If he's able to get through the first round based on playoff points, which right now he has 17 of them, with another shot at the Glen later on, by the way, to get to 22, he's got a chance to survive on points alone, right? In the first round at least. You put him into a round with a road course race past the first round, like, you could be legitimately talking about SVG in the final 8 and not needing a, you know, miracle to get to the final 4. You know, especially depending on if they shift the schedule around and, let's say, put another road course in the playoffs or move the Roval further back, or, you know, I don't know what they're going to do with it. But this is a different way to think about what SVG's chances are moving forward. I think is, like, it was a realization for me at least. Like, okay, it's not like he's had a really nice run, and when he goes to the street course, he's going to win, and then the other tracks, he's going to be... If you go to a road course right now, for the foreseeable future, it's SVG versus the field, and SVG has the edge, at least as of now. Past that, though, I did take a look at the playoff bubble heading into this week, so basically, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece are right there sitting for that last spot. However, as we know, especially given what's left on the schedule, there are some opportunities for a playoff spot to be stolen by a driver who wins a race. We know Tyler Reddick still hasn't won a race, but he's well over 150 points above the cut line. Unless things get really chaotic, he should be safe. Alex Bowman is about 32 points above the line. He's somebody to monitor. Hasn't been the best year for Bowman, although you know he's always a candidate to maybe win a race here or there. We'll see. A place like Dover that we're about to talk about. But Preece and Bubba Wallace, I think, are battling, but at the same time, they've both probably got to have that understanding, like, we might be battling for a spot that's not there eventually. You know what I mean? So those two are in an interesting predicament. If Bowman drops back a little bit, maybe Preece and Bubba start having some good finishes, then that maybe changes the dynamic again. But for right now, those are the two. Like, Bubba's 3 points above Preece, and Bubba has the last spot. Preece is the first one out. But one surprise winner, and all of a sudden that cut line moves up, and they're both 30-plus points below the line. So that's where I think the playoff battle is right now. We do have a stretch right now. You know, you'll start with Dover, where you go, hey, you could see some repeat winners for sure. Not like a great chance that somebody like, I don't know, Michael McDowell pops off and wins here. But it's always a possibility. And as I mentioned before, you still have another road course race down the line. Of course, Daytona at the very end. The chaos is not done for the playoff drivers just yet. Okay. Let's fast forward a little bit to Dover. I do know, by the way, there was more stuff with the lawsuit with 2311 and their charter, set to lose it. They filed some more legal jargon that's basically going to extend this thing out. Trying to read through and kind of comprehend everything that's going on. It's still a very legal and potentially ugly process that's happening right now. As far as I know, though, look, here's what it matters to this Cup Series season. Beyond that, I don't know. Those guys are still going to be in every race. For now, this is still not an issue at all. If it becomes an issue like down the road at Daytona, the last race, like if you have a bunch of entries, we'll figure that out when we get there. But for right now, the 2311 cars, the front row car, like treat them like they are just normal cars in the field. I don't think there's going to be any implications yet for this season. Future-wise, we're still trying to figure out what's in Pandora's box and how far it's been opened up, right? But past that, to this week at Dover, the Monster, I love this track. I love Dover. I think it's been another one that's been really solid with the next-gen car. I love unique tracks. I've said that before, like, places that aren't just your typical mile and a half. And Dover, of course, fits that. It's got so much banking. You carry so much speed coming off those corners. It's also, which, by the way, the new NASCAR video game that's coming out in a few months, I love driving at Dover on past NASCAR video games, and I'm looking forward to doing that again. So this should be fun, and you go back and you look, this race can be won by, I think, a variety of different drivers and teams. I do expect Gibbs to have some speed, right? It's been an interesting stretch. Ty Gibbs has done really well at the road courses, kind of gotten himself back into some momentum. So is he somebody to look out for? I feel like he's kind of my dark horse of the week. Take a look at what Ty Gibbs and that 54 team can do. But definitely I would consider Denny Hamlin a threat here. Kyle Larson's been quiet for far too long. You feel like he's going to make a statement again soon. And then remember William Byron. William Byron and Christopher Bell at the beginning of the year, it was like, all right, maybe the 24 is going to be battling the 20 all year long. I think Byron's had better success than Bell over the last handful of races, but neither one of them has had as much, as many opportunities to win and hasn't gotten it done since earlier in the year. So I think pay attention to both of those guys. All things considered, I almost went with Tyler Reddick for my race pick here. I was like, you know what? Just feels like maybe it's the moment for Reddick to pop off. But Dover's a place that it is easy to make some mistakes, and I feel like Reddick sometimes puts a little bit too much pressure on himself. So ultimately, give me a little bit of a less exciting pick here. Give me Denny Hamlin to continue what's been a quietly very, very good season. He's got to win a championship at some point, right? Maybe not. We'll see. But this feels like as good as opportunity as he might have in the near future. So if he's able to continue to stack playoff points, we know how valuable that is. Give yourself some mulligans in the playoffs. Maybe Denny Hamlin gets one done again at Dover. Should be a really good race. Should be really fun. After a little stretch of road courses, back to an oval here, and I'm looking forward to it. Once again, I really appreciate it. Last week's episode, most viewed we've ever had. If you're still listening at this point, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think about SVG, his dominance, and who's going to win Dover. Drop it down in the comments below. We will be back next week, of course, recapping Dover and taking a look ahead. It's the 4 Tire Change Podcast, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. We'll see you next week.